Hey, what's going on?
I'm just playing Hotline Miami 2, the new game that came out. You kill dogs with masks on, with knives.
That sounds... I could get in on that.
That's right, Ian. It's a game by Devolver Digital, released on March 10th, 2015.
Dude, who are you talking to right now?
Okay, well, what have you been playing recently?
Crazy game called Hotline Miami 2.
Choice! So, Ian, you've been playing Hotline Miami 2?
Yeah, a good bit. Actually, a lot. It's the most violent game I've played in all year, probably since I played the last Hotline Miami.
So for those who don't know, Hotline Miami is an ultra-violent, 80s-themed, psychedelic, existential acid trip game. The game.
It's
a top-head view game.
Top down.
Yeah.
Riding with the top down, I think.
Yeah, it's kind of like...
might say. I think the first one and both the second one, they're both homages to 80s slasher films. Is kind of what's happening a lot. But it's got a big, heavy dose of horrible visuals, just like, soul-shattering story is going on. You've got just horrible stuff happening the entire time.
Right.
I mean, it's brutal.
And on top of that, it's just very difficult because everyone dies in one hit, including yourself.
Yes.
So if you like a challenge, if you like super fast-paced gameplay, this is the game for you.
And it's one of those games where you will be stuck on a level and kind of just have to learn a level and learn how you're going to go through that level until you get it perfect. You find that perfect Zen mode where you hit the nirvana and you just kind of do everything perfect and move on to the next one. It's a perfectionist's game, essentially.
Yes. It did come out 2 months ago. It's on Steam for $15, or you can buy the digital deluxe version.
I think that's about 40 or 30.
Yeah, and you get vinyls.
Yeah, that version is 60. That's the deluxe version. And you get a vinyl copy of the game's soundtrack, which is pretty cool that a video game...
It might be worth it, though, to be honest, because the soundtrack is absolutely amazing.
It is fantastic. I love the first one's soundtrack, but they've managed to stick with the retro feel. It still feels like it might have been programmed on a chiptune Game Boy, but it almost sounds better produced at the same time, without sounding better produced. It's a conundrum. It's an audio conundrum. It's beautiful. I love that soundtrack.
You played more of the story, and I've been skipping a lot of it because I'm more into the gameplay.
Yeah.
Even though I know the story's pretty good. What is it like?
The first game's story centered around people who were getting phone calls on their voicemails telling them to go kill people. And you had a couple people who were dealing with that. They'd have to go out and murder all these people. And the game, second one, Wrong Number, picks up around the same spot where people are still getting these random phone calls, but you've got a bunch of other stuff thrown in there. You've got Nam flashbacks, you've got filming of, and it's not Nam, it's somewhere in Hawaii. It's like a war in Hawaii. I think it's a fictional war. Yeah, I think it's a war that didn't actually happen.
It's basically guerrilla warfare in Hawaii.
Yeah, I think the game is following its own timeline in our world. Like things that, especially I read a little bit about the ending because I have not beat the game either, but I did want to read a little about the ending. You want to have some
insight.
Yeah. But yeah, and it definitely is on its own timeline. A lot of stuff happens that hasn't happened in our world. So this game it's going out there and it's saying, it's not making too much of a statement by saying this is set in the real world and all this brutal ultra violence is happening.
Did you know this game was originally supposed to be DLC for the first one?
No, I didn't know that.
It was supposed to be DLC, but they made a whole sequel. And what do you think they did differently was good? Like, did it need a whole sequel, or do you think it could have been DLC? Because it felt pretty different. It felt pretty good.
It felt like a new branch of something. It felt like they had a lot of ideas. I mean, you take a look at the different level designs where you've got the old school first Hotline Miami where you're going on a killing rampage. And then you've got the detective who uses non-lethal means. You're not allowed to really kill anyone. It was a good way of forcing you into something, and kind of, it spoke to me. I mean, I managed to tone myself back. I said, okay, I gotta be non-lethal on this mission. I'll do that. And obviously you didn't find yourself among that crowd.
Yeah, apparently if you take that pacifist guy and you hit people who are down enough, you turn into Rambo and you can use guns. Otherwise, he picks up guns and he takes ammo out and throws them away.
Yeah,
and
he
can't
unloads the shells. And
but if you're violent enough and persistent enough, which I found out somehow by the way I play, he turns into a huge muscle guy and you can pick up shotguns and kill people like normal.
See, I didn't check that out. I was like, okay, you don't want me to kill?
You know,
I won't kill.
People play the games in different ways.
You don't play by the rules, Barry.
No. I'm a cop who's lost on the what does it say? They say? You're loose cannon. Loose cannon.
You're on the edge.
Loose cannon.
Yeah, you're too old for this shit. They might say as well. They would also say you're ruining this operation, a waste of this department's money, and no use for a bagger boy. I don't know. I made that last one up. I'm really fishing for idioms here.
So there's lots of blood in the game.
Yeah.
There's so much blood that. There's bodies and blood flying out of boundaries in this game, I found.
Yeah.
There was bodies flying out of the level for some reason.
I was reading through a couple reviews online, a couple message boards, and I took a screenshot, and I might be able to send it to you, and we can post it up for a minute. But this guy said his biggest issue with the game was people who said the game is hard are faggots.
I would agree. If the game's not hard, then what are you playing the game for?
No, you're totally right, and
really.
I love that there's no difficulty setting either.
Yeah,
it's you play the game and beat it, or you don't have the time, or you don't have the perseverance to sit there and actually get it done. They have also they've said multiple times, they've repeated that they are not making another.
Really?
They know for a fact they're not making another. So it's good. It's good that they put a cap on it. It's good that it's not going to suffer from this sequelitis syndrome. And it's good. I think that's part of the reason why the end result came out as satisfactory as it did, is because they probably knew, okay, we're coming back to this game. Let's make it worth it, and then let's move on to greener pastures.
So they're not Marvel, that's what you're saying?
No Marvel.
So, Ian, do you recommend Hotline Miami 2, The Wrong Number?
Chris, I do, but only I do recommend it. Yes.
Everyone should play it.
Everyone should.
It's just a really good game, and everyone,
If you're the type of person that enjoys Grand Theft Auto, that sort of senseless murder simulation, then you may enjoy some of the more horrible, murder simulation that Hotline Miami has to offer. And also, if you're the type of person that likes Apocalypse Now, American Psycho, that's sort of delving into the blackest part of the human soul, what drives us to kill other people, that sort of acid-infueled, sort of just madness, then it's a fun little trip to go down. It's a fun little lane to walk down. Yes, Chris, I would suggest taking a gander at Hotline Miami 2, Wrong Number. What about you? Would you dial the wrong number?
If you're Hillary Clinton, then I would not recommend you play this game. I recommend Hillary Clinton.
Holla at me.
It's a good game. You should play it. It's violent. People who don't know anything about video games are gonna say it's terrible, but it's actually amazing. The gameplay is great. You can play it. Every level just feels good to beat. Every level, once you get towards the end, your heart gets pumping, and it's just a good time.
Yeah, I think that's about the best praise we can give something. Is we had a good time playing it, so you probably will too.
Yeah, so go buy it.
And it forced me to think about killing people. Oh yeah, you'll have to find it at a flea market if you want to get it on VHS like we did.
Yeah, it's super rare. You had to blow the developers to get it. I'm not kidding.